Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Open Shutter. Thanks for watching, listening, wherever this thing is. Thanks for coming along. Have the pleasure of welcoming my buddy Brian on the program. So big thanks for Brian for taking the time. Brian, we've known each other for a few years through Get Out Shoot, and we've done some meetups and some vlog stuff and all kinds of other crazy stuff. So kind of excited about this chat about kind of, I guess, maybe focusing on different like niches of photography. We were just talking offline about how to kind of like better ourselves when we're trying to like be in this like creative space. And I think it's easy for us to kind of like do the same thing over and over again without really kind of thinking about what we're doing. So hopefully we can kind of chat about that a little bit and maybe help you out on your own kind of creative journey. And if this is your first time tuning in, I try to do this podcast as much as possible and try to talk to people that make stuff. It could be photo, video, painting, could be anything. If you want to chat about your journey, I'd love to have you on. And tonight got Brian on. So Brian, man, thanks again for coming on, man.
You're welcome, Paul. Pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a while since we've actually seen each other in person, but I know that we were just talking offline about how you're kind of like dabbling into all kinds of different areas of photography. So maybe for the people that don't know who you are, maybe a quick intro about yourself.
Yeah. So my name is Brian Quach, and I started photography in 2019, actually October of 2019.
Yeah.
And I really didn't know very much about photography at the time. Actually, prior to that, I actually hated photography. I
really hated. Why?
Yeah, I really didn't understand it. It just seems very complicated. I did not understand the exposure triangle and all that stuff, and it just like everything was just very much a mystery to me.
Okay.
So I guess I got into photography because I had like a need for to take pictures for my dog who was aging, and I had a feeling he was gonna not be with us for a very long time. So
rest in peace, Tiger.
Yeah, I was rushing against time to get some good photos of him, and so I grabbed myself a camera and forced myself to learn from YouTube.
Sure, YouTube University.
Yeah, YouTube University.
That's how we all learn.
Start off from scratch, like what is aperture, what is an f-stop, and how does it relate, or why does it even matter? Learn from scratch. And so during that time, there was the pandemic.
Yes, remember that well.
And so I had very, very much a lot of time to study and focus on that. And so after, when the pandemic was over, I guess it was time to test myself out. So I went out and started shooting. Shortly after, I realized that I needed more activities, more practice. And then I mean, at the beginning I was going out to shoot street photos on my own,
right?
Which got pretty boring pretty quickly.
Yeah, you don't like it, eh?
It's also kind of dangerous too.
Where, Toronto?
Yeah.
Where were you going?
Downtown. Okay, so tell you the story, right? So I was in the beginning, I didn't know what was what, and I saw these people doing street photography. I thought, okay, maybe that's what I need to do, right? So I got my camera and walked out downtown Toronto and started shooting pictures of night scene, skyline Toronto. And I was walking around shooting, and then some people, I don't know if they were tourists or locals or what it was, they came up and just like they started looking at my camera and they're like, oh, hey, nice camera, like what are you shooting with? And they were looking at the camera and stuff like that, and next thing you know, I was surrounded.
No, but really?
Yeah.
They're gonna rob you?
It seemed that way, but it wasn't apparent to me at the time. I was just like, oh yeah, and I was so willing to like show off and tell them about like, oh, my experience and all that stuff. And ironically, because of that discussion, I ended up adding one of them to my Instagram.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and then it was a friendly chat, and they walked off, and then next thing you know, as they were walking away, I heard this like loud shout over my shoulder, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Stop it!" And then I looked up around, and there was actually a guy standing behind me. And
Yeah.
he was about to like snatch my camera or something like
No way.
that. And
No
then
way.
so then I realized like the guy who I had added to Instagram was the one who saved me from that guy. Well, maybe
The
because
guy
I
that you
had
added Instagram saved you. Were these people friends?
they were his
Were
friends
these
or
people
something, or his
his
associates, or I
friends?
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was one incident, and
Crazy.
then there was also another incident where I was like also walking down in like Bathurst and Bloor, and then same thing happened. Like a couple of guys came up, and um, same deal coming up. Oh, what camera are you using? They want to get a closer look at it, but this time I had like a sort of like a tether,
Right.
strap onto my wrist, and then
Right.
he looked at it closely and was like, "Oh, okay." And he kind of lost interest into it, and and then we just had a little chat, and I took pictures for him, and they walked off. But it was a couple of close calls.
So you still don't like going out at night in Toronto shooting, I guess? Like by yourself, I guess.
No, we just do it smarter. That's why I started
You're doing a
joining up.
group. Yeah, you're doing a group.
Yeah, you do
Safe.
it in a group. I
Yeah.
joined up your group, and you guys routinely go out at night as a group, and there's
Yeah.
safety in numbers, right?
Of course. Yeah.
As well, that was one aspect, but the most motivating part was just kind of the creativity that when you're in a group, you talk to each other, and it kind of sparks like thoughts and creativity, and and then they give you tips, they help each other out.
Yeah.
It's fun. I mean, even if you don't shoot anything, like even if you're using your iPhone for that matter,
Yeah.
like just that outing with a bunch of like-minded people.
Yeah. That's the power of a group, right?
Yeah, that's even for one evening, it kind of builds bonds, and then next thing you know, if you know a few photographers, and the funny thing is when you go to the next event,
Yeah.
you recognize a few of them,
Of
and
course.
you're like, oh hey, and you instantly you feel welcome to the community, right?
Yeah. Of course.
And that empowers you, kind of makes you feel supported, encourage
Yeah.
you to go out more,
Yeah.
and not afraid to make mistakes, or
Yeah. Yeah. To me, it's like we all want to be like supported and validated. So I think being part of a group helps with that. And also like when you first started, you said that you hated photography. So it just helps with like the learning curve too, right? Because you'll see people out in the field and then you can ask them questions live, which really helps, I think, when you can actually ask questions live in the field. I think there's a different vibe to it versus just like over social media or something or over text or whatever. I think there's a special bond when you're able to like learn in person. You know what I mean? Like there's like a certain like energy to it that you can't get behind a screen, so that's kind of my viewpoint.
Yeah. So when I was learning on YouTube,
Yeah.
I was just watching videos over and over again, and at a point, I just like, yeah, you can watch 10, 20 different
Yeah,
videos all talking about the same subject, but
of course.
you're really not gonna learn until you actually
You
take
got
a
to
test.
do it. You got to drive the
Right.
car. I always say like you don't know how to drive the car until you actually drive the car.
Yeah,
You got to drive the car.
you can't watch a video to drive a car, right?
No, that's what I mean. Like you, yeah, like people always ask me, oh, like what camera should I get, or what's a good channel? I said, well, just go out and practice. Like just practice as much as you can, because that's how you're gonna learn stuff.
Yeah.
And by like joining groups and asking questions, like you mentioned about making mistakes, like I don't know. To me, it's like if you're not making mistakes, then you're not really trying. You know what I mean? Like you're not really like pushing. Like we were just talking offline about like pushing yourself and try to do like different things. And I don't know. Like this isn't like science. Like it's art. Like if that's the way you want it to be, then that's the way you want it to be. It doesn't have to be 1+1=2 all the time. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm weird that way. Like I don't really. I'll make like 1,000 mistakes. Like I don't really care.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Like I guess some people, when I talk to some people, they tell me that they don't like the pictures that they take, right? And I guess when that happens, it's kind of like a big deterrent for you to try.
Yeah, they're saying that they don't like their pictures, or they're saying they don't like your pictures. What
No,
are they
their
saying?
own pictures. Like when they
Yeah,
take it, they
of
just like, oh,
course.
I
Well,
hate your.
we're always our own worst critic.
Yeah.
Like that's
And
just us talking, you know.
But then I was like, well, if you take a moment to think about it, like hating your own work is actually healthy for you, right?
Yeah.
Because it kind of gives you like a direction of like you're being critical about what it is that you don't like. So
Yeah.
then now you have to also have to figure out what is it that you do like. So obviously it's like the
Right.
things that you like are not at this point not produced by yourself.
Yeah.
They're probably produced by other people. So
Yeah.
then it's up to you to kind of figure out, okay, so if I'm shooting this way and I don't like it, okay, then what is it that I need to do to get to something that I do like, right? And you take what you've done and compare it to something that someone else has done, and see
Mm-hmm.
how far your gap is, right?
Right. Right.
And
Right.
then
Yeah.
so that difference in between, if you're evaluating, is what you need to work on to close that gap, right?
Mm.
So it's quite the process. It's very time consuming because at beginning it's like, how they say you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. Until you don't know it.
Yeah, and you don't know it, and then it's
Yeah.
like, so if you're constantly like taking your camera out there and shooting like 100 photos repeatedly, like I
Yeah.
mean you will improve, but it's kind of a slower process. I remember in the beginning I didn't know what to do, like who was gonna ask about how to do it, right? So I just went out every night and took 300 photos of
Yeah.
random stuff. It didn't really matter. I just like, okay, I just said to myself, like, okay, my goal today is to take 300 photos of I don't know what, right?
Mm.
So it'll be like, oh, electric pole, take picture.
Yeah. Sure.
Street light, okay, take picture. I don't know why. And I mean, garbage can, take a picture. Pigeon, take a
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah.
Um, so then
Yeah.
I would when I get home, I wouldn't actually look at these pictures very much. I would just kind of store them, and then it was like a process. It was a learning process. So it was just like I would just do it repeatedly every night for like,
You did every night?
yeah, almost like a month. That was before I even joined your meetups,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like force myself to. It was very boring. It was very at times it was kind of painful. It's kind of like you're fighting with yourself, telling you I don't want to do this anymore, and then you're just like, oh, just do it. It's the process. Trust the process.
You're
Uh,
very driven. You're very driven that way.
yeah. And I remember, I forgot the name of this photographer who said that he, in his lifetime at the time, he took about 10,000 photos. I forgot his
Sure.
name. And a lot of the photos weren't even developed; they're still in the roll.
Yeah.
So in order to better himself, he just took pictures. So yeah,
Yeah. Well,
that's
that's what
when
it takes. Well, that's what it takes, right?
yeah, and that I still retain that mentality for any time I want to start a new line, like say if I want to try like, oh, food photography and I don't
Yeah.
know what to do. So
Yeah.
all right, just keep snapping photos, and at some point you're gonna realize, oh, I really hate these photos, because the
Mm.
worst is when you're indifferent about. Okay, it's like, do you like it? Do you not like it? Is it good? Is it bad? Then your answer is like, I don't know. It's like you're just
Mm.
indifferent about it, right?
What do you do then? Do you ask other people for advice?
You could, but I don't know if that's because if you ask like 10 people, 10 people will give you different
Yeah.
opinions,
Mm.
right? And
True.
I don't know if that's gonna be helpful. Some will, and half of them will say, "Oh, I like it," and the other half is like, "No, I don't really like it." And then
Yeah.
they wouldn't really tell you like
You
why
would have
you
to
don't.
ask them like, what do you like about it, or what do you don't like? Give me
Yeah.
something concrete.
And then when they're on the spot, they'll just like make up something like,
Yeah.
it's the maybe it's the angle of this or
Yeah.
the color or I don't know, whatever.
Right.
and then
Hard, yeah.
and then you're trying to take that in and try to correct yourself. It's probably not even valid, right? And then you just end up like sabotaging yourself. So my my best thing is that I would take a lot of photos, and then eventually at some point I would start hating the photo. But then if you look at the one that you do like, or the one that's good, it triggers you. You're like, okay, this is the one. I don't know why, but I like this one. Okay, the rest I don't like. And then, but you also have to be critical. Like, okay, why is it that I don't like the other ones, but I do like this particular one, right? And so you sort of compare, and you think, okay, sort of like, you get like a better sense of what is your own niche, right?
Right. Okay. Kind of like your own style.
Yeah. So yeah, it is kind of like your own style, because if you try to follow what other people have done and mimic it, it's really hard because that's their thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it might not fit to you. I mean, you can try to do it, but then you eventually gravitate to like, oh, I hate this style, you know?
Yeah, because it's not you. It's not your thing.
Mhm.
But I think we always try to copy what's being successful. And sometimes, like you need to do like you gotta do it for you. Like you gotta make it for you. And then whatever happens after happens. You have no control over that after that point. But as long as you do it for you, then you sort
It's a
of already
learning
won.
process.
You sort
Yeah.
of already won a little bit, but in terms of like even like the process of taking 300 photos a night, like I don't see a lot of people kind of have that like discipline, right?
Oh
There's a lot of
yeah,
discipline. There's a lot of discipline to that. A lot of
probably
discipline.
because they also have to work as well.
And think, whatever the like, it doesn't have to be 300. It can be like 10, right? Like it could be like maybe I'll just take photos at lunch, but a lot of people will like talk the talk, but not everyone's gonna walk the walk. So that's what like separates people too, is being able to actually like apply that discipline in like real life.
Yeah. Well, you
You
also
know?
have the reason why, like, like there are times when your inner voice is gonna say like, "Oh, don't do this," and it's like,
Yeah, of course. There's
um,
always gonna be that though.
and you're always tempted to like, oh, just put it off till next day.
Of
And
course.
then if
Yeah.
you remember your why, like why you're doing
Right.
this, like
Right.
for
Right.
me, it was like I'm doing this in order to learn photography so I can take better pictures of my dog before he passes away, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So whenever I remember my why, it was just like instant, like it's just very motivating, and then it just gets you out there, like you're full of energy, it's like your drive. So
It's like your north. It's like your north star, right?
yeah. So, but if you don't have like, if it's just a comfort thing, like casual thing, like, oh, I don't really need this. I don't plan to make money off this anyways, or oh, I don't think I'm very good, or I don't know, whatever it is. Then, you're tempted to just kind of sabotage, you limit yourself. You like put like an invisible ceiling over yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have a sort of a drive of why you're doing the particular thing. That's why I
Yeah.
guess most people consider themselves a hobbyist, because
Yeah.
they don't
They don't have
necessarily.
like a clear direction. There's no
Mhm.
clear direction. There's no clear goal. There's no clear like outline of like what do you want to be doing. I mean, you don't. I mean, not everyone has to make money off whatever they do, but I mean, if you do want to turn it into something, then there has to be kind of like a clear set of like goals that you have to hit. Or else it's not going to happen. Like it's like no one's going to be knocking on the door and say, oh, I really want to hire you. Like it's a lot of hustle to it. But
Mhm.
yeah, like what's your advice for people that are kind of struggling with like finding out their why? Like, do you have any like tips that you can give to people maybe?
Well, everybody has a different reason for why,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be related to photography or anything like
No.
that. But deep inside, the only thing you have to ask yourself is like, what is what matters to you, like
Mm,
in that moment, right? So,
right.
at the time, to me, it was like my dog, right? And then you just have to keep asking it, like, what do you want? What do you want to get out of this? And
Yeah.
what do you need to do? So just having that moment, some time to for your to like to yourself, and asking questions.
Yeah, I think it comes down to like honesty. Like you got to be really honest with yourself. you know, like really honest with like what is it that you want or achieve or whatever it is. But yeah, I think there is definitely a degree of honesty there for sure, right? And kind of like blocking out the external noise too, be it friends or family, whatever it is. Like you need to just kind of like be quiet and be honest with like what you want, right?
Yeah, I think you start out with like the end result. It's kind of like sort of like reverse engineering.
Yeah, reverse engineer.
So
Yeah,
it's envision what it is that you want, and
yeah.
then um and then and then you have to like backtrack and say, okay, what is it that you need to do in order to get that?
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
so in order to do that, whatever you need to do, what sort of skill or things would you need to
yeah,
acquire? Are
yeah.
there any barriers that are in your way that's stopping you, such as like, oh, I don't have this equipment, whatever. So then
Mhm.
you're gonna say, let's say, okay, so if that's the problem, then what do you need to do to get that equipment? Are
Yeah.
you maybe go rent it or borrow it or whatever, buy it, you know?
Mhm, mhm.
And then if you can't buy it because oh it's too expensive, then okay, well now it becomes a financial issue, right? So
Right.
it's sort of like reverse engineering, and you get back to the point where it's closest to you, and you say, okay, so my next step needs to be X, you know. So if it's money, is like, okay, I need money to get this equipment, therefore I don't know, save up,
Yeah.
get a job,
Just pick up
something.
a side hustle or something or
Yeah,
extra
and
shifts
then
or whatever the thing is. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
just like reverse engineer it back to the point where the present,
Mhm.
and then so that'll sort of outline what your next step is going to be in order
Yeah.
to get to the next step and so on and so forth. It's like a checklist, right? And then
Yeah.
you'll get closer to your goal.
Yeah, it's when we're nearing like the end of the year, so I'm sure a lot of people are gonna have like New Year's resolutions. So I mean, I don't really believe in them because I think you can just start whenever you you want to, but I think having like a clear set of like achievable goals, I think really helps. And whatever like it can be a small goal or a big goal or whatever the step is, like it has to be like achievable. Like you have to be able to actually achieve it, not some sort of like out there outlandish thing that's never going to happen. I think that's where a lot of people fall short is that they set these ridiculous goals, but there's no way to actually get to it. And that's how people get like not motivated because they're not achieving these crazy things when it wasn't even possible in the first place. Like just small steps, baby steps, like, I don't know.
Mm.
Have like, because I like to me, it's like create the momentum to get from like A to B to C. So it can be like a really tiny thing, but I think that little, I don't know, for me, it's like something just clicks in your brain where it's like you just feel good about like it's kind of like doing the laundry. Like you just do it and you just feel good because you've done it. Like it's so stupid, but that small little thing that you did helps you get to like the B item and then the C item and the D item. And then all of a sudden you're on a roll because you've just created this momentum for yourself.
Yeah, I think
Right.
flow is also very important. Like
Yeah.
we
It's
talk
like
about.
it's energy, right? It's
Mhm.
energy.
So I think I don't know if I haven't heard about it from very many photographers, but there are some that do mention like the flow of
Yeah.
your workflow and your creativity, your energy. It's
Yeah.
very
It's
important,
huge.
and
Huge.
it's one of the main influence to how each photographers do like their photography, the process, the way that they do, or in terms of even the equipment that they buy,
Right.
because and like how they set it up. So for example, some photographers would like pack everything in their bag and then they go and then they'll set it up as they need it. But
Yeah.
anytime that you have to stop what you're doing, take a pause even for like a half second,
Mm.
in order to break away from your focus to, I don't know, set up a piece of gear, change a
Yeah.
setting,
Yeah.
or or I don't know, change a lens or something like that. That's an interruption to your flow, your process,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that sort of thing will kind of like ruin your creativity.
Hmm.
So I noticed that some photographers would focus on eliminating that interruption, where
Yeah.
they have it like set up so that all they have to do is take their camera out, they're ready to shoot. If they need, like, say, tripod, and then they would just take it out of the bag and snap it on. It wouldn't be like I need to pause, take it out, set it up, and and then the model or subject is meanwhile sitting there waiting for you, and then they're losing their concentration, and then after like 30 seconds you're okay, I'm ready now, and they're like, oh, okay,
she
where
lost. Yeah, I know. The
it's
model
like,
lost her mojo.
okay, back into the flow. Not really. It's like now it's very posed and fake. Like
yeah. No, I think it's super important. Just like the energy and the flow of life, really, and it comes down to like being creative and all that stuff. So yeah, I think it's very I think people undervalue that too, because we constantly want to hit the home runs, but you just got to hit this. You got to hit the singles all the time, and then after a while, you just get into like this rhythm.
Yeah, rinse and repeat. Do it like 2-3 times, and then you'll realize like, oh, I can do this better or faster or smoother.
Of course.
Yeah, and then eventually, just like the laundry that you mentioned, like you're just doing it without thinking it, and it's just if it needs to be done, it'll get done, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like I don't know. It's funny because people always just set out these like goals where it's like, well, how the hell are you gonna actually like do that though? Like I don't understand. Like, just make them small, make them reasonable, make them achievable, and then see where you are in a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year.
Yeah, such as I'm gonna be a millionaire, and
that's what I mean. But that's what we see on social media, right? Like how to make $1 million, how to do this. Like it's always like these crazy things where we're just brainwashed seeing them, but no one actually tells you how it's actually done. No one tells you how like the sausage is made, really.
Yeah, I mean, on a selfish level, they probably wouldn't want to tell you how it's done.
Of course they wouldn't. But I mean, yeah, like it comes down to just like personal, like you said, like what do you want and what are you willing to do for it, really? Because that's basically how like the world works,
Well, drive. Everybody's different. I mean, when I remember when I first joined your meetup groups, like one thing I was like basically watching how everybody's doing things and stuff like that. And one of the things that impressed me most about your group or you in particular is that your drive. And that was the one thing I wanted to learn from you. I was looking, I was like, this guy's doing it like nonstop every week. Like, how is it that, like, what motivates him? And
the people, because I mean, I wanted to learn.
I mean,
I want to learn. Like, I need to like learn stuff too. So it's kind of like just meeting as many people as I could.
Yeah, because what a lot of people, what drives them is money, right? And they want to do money, but clearly when I joined your group, it wasn't about money at all. Like it wasn't, So I was like, so clearly it's not money. So what motivates this person, right?
Just I like. I don't know. Like it's just, to me, it's like just being able to like build like a community where people just kind of like get together and hang out in like a non-pressure environment and just to have fun, really. I like kind of building those kinds of like communities, just able to like provide. Like to me, it's like always provide the platform for people, like provide the space, provide the opportunity, or provide whatever. But I mean, I think like, see, the thing is like, like anyone can start a meetup group. Like people can go on Meetup and whatever the site is, and they can create their own group and they can do their own meetups. But I think a lot of people wait for someone else to do it for some reason. I don't know why. So like, people wait for it to be presented and then they'll join. Right. So I said, okay, I'll provide it, and then people can just come and hang out and have some fun and take some shots, and then that's kind of it. Right. But yeah, I don't know. It was just fun, man. Like it was like a lot of fun, just doing different things, meeting different people, just like seeing like different like backgrounds and like skill sets, and like you don't get that from behind a screen. You don't get that, right? So I think there's a lot of value with, especially pre-COVID, post-COVID, there's a lot of value with just being able to like connect. There's just, again, going back to like energy and flow, and just being able to like, even when we did meetups in the winter when it was like minus 40 degrees, no one was going to go out on their own. There's no way. But if you knew that 5-10 people were there, you'll probably go, because you know that Brian's going to be there. right? So it kind of gives you that kind of like motivation to like actually leave the house. And I always say like the hardest part is leaving the house. It's always the hard part. But when you know someone's there, then it's a little bit easier, I find, when you know that Brian's going to be there, Paul's going to be there, whatever, because at least you have someone there again to support and validate and to kind of coach and again have fun, right? So, you know, but there's a lot of meetup groups in Toronto, man. Like you don't get that everywhere. Like Toronto is just a saturated city for like meetups in general, really. But for photography, there's like so many, man. There's so many. Like you can find anything, right? So yeah, I don't know. People just wait for others to like provide the opportunity, and then people will just come out, right? So
yeah, well, a lot of them say like it's not that they don't know what to do or how to do it. It's just they don't want to take the lead to do it.
they don't want to take the lead, or they will, or
You
be
know,
responsible, or whatever,
yeah,
whatever
it's
thing
like
is,
it's a
whatever it is, right?
heavy burden to be, the leader of a group,
Yeah,
right?
but it's not like I'm president of the United States. I'm just like leading a meetup group. It's not a big deal.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
but I guess some even that is also already a big challenge to them.
Yeah, I don't know, I've met people in the meetup group that were like really shy, and eventually they led events eventually. I'm like, I told them, I said, you'd be really good because you know a lot of stuff. And I don't know, some of them are pretty shy, but they led a few. So kind of broke them out of their shell, right? So you just never know. You just never know how people will react. Because I think again, people want to be seen and people want to be heard. You just have to give them the right opportunity to be in that space, right? Because it doesn't matter. I mean, you could be shy, but you could also be willing to like put yourself out there to be seen and to be heard, because it's kind of like your thing. Like if my thing is like food photography, I want to be able to teach people food photography because that's like my thing. Like that's what I do, and I want to teach you how to do it. So I don't know. I think people overcome their shyness because they're kind of proud of what they know and what they're able to do, and they want to show that to other people.
The
So
excitement, right? Fun and
yeah,
excitement.
they're excited, and they want, and they're proud, and like they're proud of themselves how far they've come, and they want to show others, what they know and how other people can like achieve what they've achieved, right? Like I don't know, I think it's like it's just
It's part
it's
of
like
the learning process because you learn faster and better when you teach others.
you do for sure. I think, yeah, I mean, it's true. People just want to. It's not like a personal bravado, but they just want to be able to like show, hey, this is what I know and this is what I can do. Like it's hard to be. I don't know. I just find that it's hard to be noticed in today's like world. Like it's hard to like stop the scroll. Like people are just constantly scrolling. So if you're able to like sit people down for 2 minutes and hey, this is what I can do and this is what I'm able to like teach, and you kind of get the attention, like I think attention is important too. People want that attention really badly, I think, and it's hard to get that these days. You know what I mean? So if you're in a have the opportunity to be able to like be in front of people and be able to like, I do food photography, I do it really well, and this is how I do it, and this is how you can do it, and then you get the attention, but you're also helping others. So you're kind of getting like the best of both worlds,
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's, I don't know. We're all human, right? We all want the attention, But again, you can also use that attention to like help other people too. It's not always me. It's always give, and this is, it's kind of like how the world works. But yeah, there's so much to learn, man. Like it's never ending. Like there's so many people in the group that know so many things. Like even Victoria, who like knew so much about the history of Toronto. Like I'm like, you should like lead a meetup about the history of Toronto, and she did it. I'm like, I have no idea how you know this, but you should like tell others how you know this, because I have no idea. Like it's crazy, man. And she led a couple of like history meetups that blended photography and history. I'm like, that's pretty cool. I'm like, you should start charging for this because this is pretty valuable stuff. But yeah, man, you just never know what people know until they'll show you, right? So what can I say? Like to me, it's like you have to be willing to put yourself out there a little bit, and kind of like get to like the next step. But that comes with like practice too, I think, right? But you know what I mean? Like it's
well, you sort of get into your little comfort zone when you're
you get in a comfort zone. Yeah,
with
exactly.
familiar faces, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't feel so threatened. You don't feel like you're being judged or stuff like that. Although I think the ultimate goal is to kind of get out of your comfort zone, because I
Yeah.
find that a lot of people use that like um, as a sort of an excuse. I don't know if it's because so that they don't have to do anything or that they don't want to do anything, but they'll just say, like, the society out there is very judgmental and
Yeah.
very cold, cruel, and stuff like that. And it's like, well, yeah, it's true. But if you were to go to any country or any society, it's gonna be the same thing. So it's really no excuse, right? It's all
Yeah,
you,
I think
right?
it's just an excuse people give. I don't like it's in terms of like getting out of comfort zones, like
Mhm.
you again, I think it goes back just to have like clear goals and like a checklist of what you want to be able to do. Like what is it that you actually want to like achieve in the next 6 months? And again, going back to your point of like reverse engineer, well, how are you gonna actually do that? Well, maybe you have to change your circle of people that you hang around with. Because that ain't working.
Yeah,
You
sometimes
know?
you do have to go to such extreme as to like changing your social circle.
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit. Yeah, you always have like just audit who are you hanging around with, and like are they positive or negative people?
Well,
It's a
it's
big
also
thing.
the crab in a basket theory, right?
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
the one crab that wants to get out of the basket,
Yeah.
and then when the other crabs see them crawling out, is just about to make it out, they just like claw into them and then
Claw
pull
back.
them back in,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I don't know why they just like don't want to be there by themselves or something. So,
Yeah. It's a
sometimes
human.
when you want to do something outstanding, there will
Yeah.
be people around you that are toxic and just like, no, don't do that, and
Yeah. It's the worst people to be around with.
yeah, and I mean, you do kind of see it and realize it, but at the same time, it takes a lot of energy to break away from that. You
Yeah,
know,
it's what you're used to.
yeah. So it's taking that
What
step
you're
to
used
break
to.
away from that social norm and get out there and say, okay, no, I'm gonna do my own thing, and no matter how you say like, oh, this is no good or whatever,
Yeah.
you're just gonna do it anyways.
Yeah, and sometimes you may have to do it alone for a period of time. I mean, it's possible, but I mean, again, I think that's the power of the internet. You can know, like we just talk about meetup groups, like try to join meetup group, just meet different people, or try to like surround yourself with other people, or like I don't know, try to go on Eventbrite's another good site where you can find events in the city and you can just meet different people and meet different energies, and
Yeah, I
you never
noticed I
know,
see
right?
you a lot in the fashion forward meetups there.
Yeah, the Fashion Four meetups are great, right? Like again, there's like a lot of good people there. You meet a lot of different people, a lot of different backgrounds, and everyone's positive and supportive because again, we're all artists, makeup designer, photographer, fashion designer. Like in the end, we're all artists in the end. So we're all supportive of each other because we're all trying to get at the same place in a way, right? So um yeah, I don't know. Just go. I mean, if people there are in a tough spot with their social circle, just go online and try to find events in wherever you live, and I'm sure there's something going on.
Mm.
And it has to be right. So yeah, I don't know. And to me, it's like it's fun meeting different people. Just different. I don't know. It just kind of like sparks the interest, instead of kind of
It is but
just different stories, different points of view.
yeah,
You know.
it's if it's not something well, I guess suppose there's no really use to it, but doing it for the first time can be very like intimidating.
Of course, yeah,
Uh,
of course. But the
'Cause
great thing is if you don't like it, you don't have to go back.
yeah, that's true. That is
It's not
sort of
school.
empowering in a
It's not
way.
school. Like, you don't have to go back if you don't like
Yeah,
it.
it is sort of empowering to know that nobody knows you, you don't know them, and you're
No
probably
one
never
knows
gonna see
you.
each other again. So it doesn't
That's
really
it.
matter if you make any mistakes or what you think of you, because
That's
you're
it.
never gonna see them again.
Yeah. If I don't like this group, I won't come back. So I mean, it's like going back to the point of like putting yourself out there. It's like, well, if you want to like change your life in different ways, then I think it requires a little bit of that, or
Mhm.
else you're just doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, yeah. And the funny thing is like that saying like uh practice makes perfect.
Yeah,
And then there's another saying that if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, that's
it's
the definition of insanity.
insanity. Yeah,
So it's kind of
Albert
like,
Einstein.
which one is which here? So do you practice or do you not practice?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, if something's not working and you keep doing it, then that's insanity.
Yeah.
Then if you always have like the lens cap on, maybe take the lens cap off before
Oh, that
you
was a
know.
good tip.
You know, I'm just saying, like, if it's not working, you gotta fix something, right? So it's a good point though, right? Like, you gotta practice. Like, I know that you're doing like the cosplay stuff, so like you must be practicing a lot with like the cosplayer, right? Just
Yeah,
constantly out there,
I
right?
did get a lot of practice with the cosplayers, and okay, so going back to that fear, the fear. So
Yeah,
what happened was shortly after Tiger passed away,
yeah,
um, oh yeah, and then I didn't want to do any pet photography, right?
right.
And so I just like kind of went around, and during that time there was like Comic-Con, and there's a lot of hype and excitement, and I was like, you know, um, yeah. So I just like went to Comic-Con and by myself,
Okay.
and then I was like, didn't know anybody there, super scary.
Yeah.
Everybody's like in their own group, social circles, and I'm
Mhm.
just this guy with a camera, and then I didn't know what the rules were. Are you allowed to shoot them? Just like, whatever. And
Right.
apparently there are rules.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to ask consent before you shoot them. But at the same time, if I'm trying to shoot an event like candidly, like asking them for permission makes them pose, and then that
Yeah.
wouldn't be candid,
Not
right?
canned
So
anymore. Yeah, exactly.
I was catch 22. But yeah, so the first time I went there, when I started shooting, it was just like just casual photos, like not very good or anything like that. Eventually, I met some of them, like their costume, their props really caught my eye, and then I was like, oh, can I shoot that? And then you give them some couple of pictures, and then they're really happy. They're actually that's why they're there, right? They want
Of course.
pictures, right?
100%.
And if you're giving them that attention, that validation, they're
Yes.
super
Yes.
happy. Right? It's like
They
it's
love it, man.
for them,
They
it's like
love
a
it.
social thing, right? And for me, it was like a more of like a practice thing, right?
Mm.
Um, but yeah, you will once you engage with the cosplay community, it's like it really sucks you in because they really love you for it, and they really want more, and it's just a matter of like how much of your time are you willing to put into it,
Right.
because it's
Right.
just nonstop. Like they just like, yeah, soon as like if they realize you're willing and able to shoot for them, they are the ones who will start creating events and inviting you to shoot for
That's
them. They'll be like,
Yep.
oh, we're gonna do this shoot, are you available on this day? And you just go, and then they'll have like their costumes in place, makeup done and everything, and then all you
Yeah.
have to do is just shoot. And sometimes they'll even be willing to pay for the studios themselves, and
Right.
oftentimes it'll be like maybe even a group of people. there'll be maybe more photographers, and you eventually it just like it just snowballs, right? And then like hundreds of cosplayers, and then you go to the convention, it's like, oh, you're high fiving everybody because it turns out everybody now, and it's just so weird. It's just like,
Was it
yeah.
fun? Was it fun for you though? Like the whole process?
It was very fast, and to such point that because I wasn't prepared for it, it was kind of overwhelming.
Was it?
Yeah. Because it was so like so much activity, I sort of have to like kind of remind myself to like take a step back and reevaluate what is it that I want, what direction do I want to go, where do I stand right now in terms of what I want, like what my work will want to be, like what level it is. And I also think about like what is the next level goal that I want to achieve, right?
Okay.
So you
what is it?
Well, I wanted to improve my my work for like the composition and coloring and stuff like that. And by the way, just a lot of stuff you see on here are not posted by me. They're just like tagged by my some are customers and some are just like cosplayers, and they just like add me as collaborator, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So a lot of them are like, I haven't been posting stuff on my page for so long. They're just work I did for others, and they just like they posted it up and added me as a collaborator.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man's pretty cool
though. It is, right?
This guy's pretty dope.
Yeah, and that's this shoot here. This one, yeah. There's a funny story behind this. They did like there was this like meetup that one of the cosplayer did. Her name was Black Cat, and she organized this event in Guildwood, and it consisted of some like about 50 cosplayers, like 50 people. Imagine like, yeah, but it was like Spider-Man themes, okay? So it was like Spider-Man and symbiotes, right?
Right.
And they were gonna have this like, it's almost like a battle, like a big Spider-Man versus symbiote battle thing. Really? So 50 people all came out in dressed in like Spider-Man's and symbiote in like in Guildwood, and it just had this massive shoot. Like of course, unfortunately I was sick that day, so I couldn't go.
No.
Right? Yeah.
You were sick?
Yeah.
But epic.
Funny enough, after I recovered and I was like talking to her, and I was like, oh, I missed that shoot. And then right away, she was like, oh, you know what? Let's do one tonight. Like, it was just spontaneous. Like, it was like, let's do it tonight. So she just shouted out to people like, hey, who wants to do a Spider-Man shoot up tonight? Okay, let's go downtown to this alley. And we're just like, okay. It was just very spontaneous. It'll be like, imagine if I go, hey, Paul, let's do a shoot right now. Like, now. Like, right, okay, where I meet you at 10 o'clock in the alleyway. We're going to do a shoot right now.
And that's how it happened.
Yeah. And it was like, okay, we're going to get like 10 people. Okay. Everybody want to shoot? Let's go. And we're going to meet at this alley. And then that's how it happened. So we all got there. Cool. They got into their Spider-Man suits, and then it was start shooting.
Gotta love it, man.
Yeah. And it was cold as heck.
Gotta love it.
It was cold as heck that night. You can imagine, like, if you're wearing like your sweater and stuff and it's cold, look at what he's wearing.
Yeah, I know.
Then cosplay. And he has to like look. He has to look the role. Like, I mean, you look at it and it's like, it doesn't look like he's cold or anything, but it was cold that night.
Yeah. What are you using? One light there?
There was actually 2 lights there.
2 lights. Yeah.
I used LED tube lights, and they're just like they're so okay. So shooting dark scenes, okay. In the past, I've been using flash and gels, and they're very tricky because you can't see the results that you get. You always have to take test shots after test shots to find the colors. Whereas now, if you were to use like a light tube, those big long LED lights, they're very inexpensive. You don't need a very expensive one. Like I would avoid buying the $400 light tubes, just because if you drop and break them, that's $400. Whereas the ones I buy are cheap. They're like $40. So if they break,
doesn't
I'm
matter.
not gonna I'm
not
not gonna
cry
cry
over it. Yeah.
And so you can buy two or three or more of those, right?
Okay.
So I just brought like two lights there, and you just put them on like a stand, like a light stand, and you can just plop them anywhere. They're very light, and you just plop them anywhere. And the thing about these light tubes is that they're not very bright, so they're only good for like dark scenes. Like if you're in a room, you gotta turn off all the lights. But if you're nighttime, like it's perfect because there's not much light, right?
Yeah. Cool, man.
And I just put them on rotation, like it changes color all the time. I don't know if you go back, there's like some not this one there, but
this one.
No, let's go. Okay, so this is part of the same parking lot there.
Yeah.
He was on a wall, and then we just kind of shot up.
Looks like from a comic. It looks like right from a comic book.
Oh yeah, it is a very
very comic booky.
Yeah. There's actually one of the ladies. If you go there, okay. So see this, that black cat there. Yeah. So she was the organizer.
Cool.
Yeah, and it was she dubbed it the spontaneous night shoot or something.
That's cool, man. How that came about.
Yeah, and she's very big on shooting. So anytime anyone wants to shoot, she's totally down for it. And even at this point, I think she's organizing some even more events as we speak, and she's looking for
maybe there's one tonight.
Maybe. I mean, sometimes I only find out about shoots after they're already done. Why? It's like I think a week or two ago she did like this neon punk crossover style. Yeah. I don't know what it was, but it was just like shoot. And afterwards, I'm like, she started posting pictures. I'm like, oh, I missed that. And but she's all over that. And yeah, if you get in touch with her, you'll always be shooting almost like every week. You'll always be shooting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, it sounds like a lot of fun.
Cosplays, yeah.
Jeez, man. So you had no idea what you were stepping into the cosplay world. You had no idea what you're getting yourself into.
It's a different world for sure.
Yeah.
But you like, even when I mention it to other people, a lot of people don't know what cosplay is. I remember 2 days ago, someone told me, like, they were asking me about the job I do and stuff like that. Well, which I this is not my job, by the way. I have a different job. Yeah. And then they're like, oh, how'd you get into it? And how'd you get into photography or all that stuff? And I told her I did like cosplay photography, and they had no idea what cosplay is. Like, what? Cosplay? What is this cosplay thing?
Like, they don't get it. Yeah, some people don't know, man. Some people don't know.
Mm-hmm. But it's a lot of fun, and there's always demand for photographers. If you're willing, it's just oftentimes it's very spontaneous. But when you shoot with a couple of them, you quickly build up a very trusted network that will always invite you back to like shoot for them.
Well, that's good, no? That's a good thing.
And if you're good at it, they're also willing to pay you money for it as well.
That's even better. That's even better. Yeah, we went to the Comic-Con last year, 2022, right?
Was it?
2022, right?
Funny enough, like, okay, so in 2022, you guys went to Comic-Con, and I actually missed that one. And until you guys posted pictures about that, and then I was like, oh, I missed it. And then so in 2023, which is this year in March, I didn't see you guys post anything. I was really looking forward to it, but I didn't see it. So I was like, oh, well, you know what? I'm not going to miss it this time. So I kind of forced myself to go. I didn't have anyone to go with, so I went by myself, and it was scary as heck walking in there. Like, everybody was decked out in their cosplays, huge props, and just wow, And I was like, what's going on here? I don't know anybody. And then, I feel like you kind of feel like you're the outcast.
Yeah.
So you just like walking there, and it's very intimidating.
Yeah.
But yeah, all it takes is just like a self introduction to a couple of them, and they're very friendly, and yeah,
love it, man. Love it. A lot of fun here. Even these ones down here. Look at this guy. What's up with this guy?
Oh, okay. So this one here is that guy is the he's a boyfriend of this girl that I met on social media, who she does special effects, like actually film special effects makeup.
For
That's
movies,
her thing. So she so I mean her boyfriend this is I forgot his name. Nico. That's it. Nico King. He's a cosplayer, but of course the girlfriend has taken it to the next level and really gone out with like all blood and everything, and like I swear these are fake blood. Like we didn't gouge out his eyes for real blood in his eyes, but
no, okay.
I mean surprising, but no, it's fake, unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay.
So we wanted to do a shoot. This was actually done in the condo, in her condo.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like she just put on these prosthetics, horns on him, and she did an amazing job. And we've done a lot of shoots since then. But she's always doing, besides with me, she's always doing like shoots with like other photographers as well. So you're welcome to like look her up.
Maybe I will. Yeah.
Yeah, and she she has the best makeup skill, as well as special effects makeup stuff I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No wonder she works on the movies.
Well, I mean, she went to school for that, but she's not currently working for movies. But if anybody needs one,
anyone's
definitely hire her. Yeah, I mean, she's very, very good.
That's dope, man. That's what I mean. You just never know who like you're gonna meet when you go to these things, right? So very cool, very cool. Well, it's good, man. It's good. So you're gonna keep doing like the cosplay stuff this year, next year? Like, what's your plan with that?
Okay, so right now, because it's the sort of like the winter and it's sort of like a lull, and so I've kind of taken a break from that and gone to work for the time being.
Yeah.
Sort of like taking a breather from everyday life, and then also planning for next year, because in the beginning I thought cosplay was all about a Comic-Con, like there would be like one Comic-Con. It turns out, as I got involved with the community, that there's actually like 2 or 3 Comic-Con like cons, but they're not called Comic-Con. They're just like other names, like Anime North or whatever, Fan Expo or whatever. There's like probably like 2 or 3 every month.
Yeah.
No joke. But you don't really know about them until you get involved with the community, and
they tell you.
The big one what we know about is like Comic-Con, and it's like okay, so we hear it once a year. So I thought it was just like an annual event, but then as I got involved with community, it's just like no, it's like it's like constant, like every week. Okay, this week I'm gonna do this. Next week I'm gonna do that, and it was just like it was like in August there was like Fan Expo. The week after, and the same location at convention center, it's like Anime Toronto. It's same convention center, and it was like Fan Expo, Anime Toronto. I was like, I don't have the energy for this. This is like drinking my wallet.
Yeah, no kidding, eh?
Yeah, but I mean they're spread out in different cities too. They're like in Brampton, and like London and Montreal, and so like it just depends. It depends on how committed you are. But these cosplayers are very committed. I mean, they will go to Montreal and book a hotel for like days just for the convention. Yeah. But likewise, there are others who would come to Toronto and book a hotel for a day just for the Comic-Con and such like that. So that's how committed they are, right? And so if you are willing to take the time to take some photos for them, they're more than happy.
They love it. They'll love you.
Because how much effort they put into it. And I honestly, the thing I admire most is their dedication to it. It's like that's a lot of energy, commitment, and money resource.
Yes.
And mind you, some of their costumes are very expensive.
I know. They could be like on like sets.
Yeah.
They can be on sets. They're so good.
They are
crazy,
very good.
right? They're very good, man. I know. It's just it's the community of it. It's like the energy of the whole community, right? It's very positive, very
you should come on board, Paul. They need you.
I should. They need me, right? To do something. I'm not sure what, but
don't worry. You don't need to know the what. It will all come. It'll fall into place.
I'll just show up and it's all gonna come together.
It is.
Well, message me when you go to one, and then maybe we'll go together. And
yeah. Well, yeah. Will do.
There's one tonight, maybe at 10:30.
Yeah. Meet me in the dark alley at 10:30 now.
Imagine you get that message. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're up against the hour, Brian, so we don't want to take too much of your time. Thanks again for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. It was a pleasure.
Do you have any final advice, words for the viewers, listeners out there?
Just keep doing it. I mean, I would like to say just do it, but that's already copyright. So just keep doing it.
Keep doing it. I like that. Yeah, that's really what it comes down to, right? In the end, that's what it comes down to. Everyone go follow Brian at BQ Cosplay, and I'm sure he's gonna be posting a lot more content in the new year, right?
Upcoming year.
It's 2024, man. It's your year. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the last day of this year, it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Okay, if you write 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
It'll be December 31st, 23.
Oh, I understand. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's the end of the world on that day, isn't it? It's all gonna come down to the end.
Don't spoil the surprise.
I'll try not to. Thanks again, Brian, for doing this. Hopefully, I'll have you back on in the new year. Maybe we can chat about what you're up to then. And thanks everyone for watching, listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Peace.
Bye. Bye.